Hello friends and welcome back to Digitalk. So in this short session, I will explain you a very basic and generic question of Terraform, which multiple times you will face in interview as well. Okay, I will show you with the execution the complete logic. Okay, how Terraform connect with the multiple cloud service providers. Okay, so basically Terraform is a infrastructure as a code tool which we use for the end-to-end management of the resources. You can say the your infrastructure resources. So mostly Terraform we use for the management of our end-to-end management of your cloud resources, whatever the resources that we create in cloud. Okay. So when we say it is a cloud agnostic, that means it support the multiple cloud service provider, whether it is in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. Okay. So it support the multiple cloud service providers. You can use Terraform to manage, like create, destroy, update any of the infrastructure resources in any of the cloud service providers. Okay, so before I explain you the code, let me give a small overview of the your Terraform. Okay, so Terraform is also called the infrastructure as a code. So why we called infrastructure as a code? Because we maintain the complete end-to-end infrastructure with the help of code. That means we write some code, or which is also called the scripts. Okay, we write some scripts in certain blocks, and for that we follow the HCL language, HashiCorp configuration language. Okay, so basically it is a language which was developed by the HashiCorp organization. HashiCorp. Okay, so this was an American-based organization which is now acquired by the IBM in 2025. Okay, so it is now IBM company. Okay, so we use the HCL language where we define the different infrastructure code in the different sections in the different blocks. So why we called is a as a code? Because just like in the code, okay, we know that in the code we maintain the different versions, like in a centralized repository from where we check in and check out the codes, and we have the option anytime we can release the new versions, or if anytime we want we can roll back to the previous versions, right? And we can reutilize the code. So we have an object oriented programming option in the language where we can reutilize the code. So if some part of the code need to be accessed or mentioned or designed at the multiple places, so what we do, we write it as a function and then we call the function. So we do not write the same code again and again. Similarly, in the your Terraform, okay, so we configure or manage the resources with the help of multiple code files, or you can say script files, right? Because we write everything within a small scripts which is designed in the HCL language. Okay, so for that I will post a complete series very soon. Okay, there would be an end-to-end series that I'm going to post very soon in next couple of days or maybe in a week of a time. Okay, and the advanced section is going to be released on the Udemy. Okay, so this is some basic, you can say, the overview of the infrastructure as a code. So now, as I said, this your infra as a code or your Terraform is a cloud agnostic. It can connect to any of the cloud service providers. So how it actually it connect? Okay, so to connect with any of the cloud service provider, it need a connector, which is also called the plugin files. Okay, so that means if you are going to manage the AWS resources with the help of Terraform, then you need the AWS connector. If you are going to manage your resources on the Azure, you need the Azure connector. If you are going to use the Google Cloud, then you need the Google connector. Okay, so you need to design, you need to use a different connector. Now, how these connectors utilized, or specifically when we design our code file, so how these connectors are you can say configured or downloaded. Okay, so it's very straightforward, and this is the very first process that we follow when we start developing our code for management of the infrastructure in Terraform. Okay, so let me explain you with the execution. Okay, so this is a code file. This is a code file that is to create one virtual machine, EC2 virtual machine on the AWS cloud. Okay, so I will, as of now, I will just focus on the first block. So this first block, okay, this is the first block used to download the corresponding cloud service provider connector. Okay, so when we start writing the file, okay, so the very first thing that we write is a block, which is a Terraform block, and in Terraform block we define the required providers. Okay, and here you can see in the source I have defined HashiCorp/AWS. So this AWS means we are going to configure or we are going to manage our resources in the AWS cloud. So please download the AWS plugin or connector file. Okay. Similarly, if you are going to manage your resources in the Azure cloud, so instead of AWS, you need to assign Azure RM here. So once you assign the Azure RM, it will automatically download the corresponding plugin file for you. And how it works, let me show you with the execution. So this is one of the folder that I have created, Terraform Lab. Okay, this is my main project folder. So when we start designing the different files, okay, configuration files. So very first thing, we create a main.tf file. Okay, so every file in the Terraform ended with the .tf. Apart from that, we have one more file for a variable tf but mostly other files or files will be having the extension .tf. Okay, so in this main.tf file, we define the different blocks for the different resources that we are going to manage. Okay, so as of now, I will just show you this particular code and how it works. And when I will run the code, then what will happen in the background. Okay, so let me save it. So what I have done, I just added this code and here I have added the AWS. So that means I am going to manage my resources on the AWS cloud. So this code will download the AWS connector. Okay, so this file I have created here. Okay, so whenever we create our code files, that means whenever our code is ready. Okay, so we have some sequence of steps that we execute. So first step is we do the Terraform init. Okay, so I am explaining you only the first step, which is a Terraform init. So once I will run this Terraform init, you will see some .terraform folder will get created inside your project folder. You can see initializing the backend, initializing provider plugins, finding HashiCorp AWS versions matching 5.0, installing HashiCorp AWS 5.0. Okay, this is installing. Now you will see that there is a folder with the extension .terraform will be created here. Now you can see this is the folder that has been created, right? So now if I go here and let me show you inside Terraform, you will have a providers, registry.terraform.io, HashiCorp, AWS version, and then I am on the Windows machine. And now you can see this is the Terraform plugin for the AWS, which is automatically downloaded, right? So this is inside the .terraform folder that is created when we run the Terraform init. And now you can see Terraform has successfully initialized. So this is the way how we maintain the resources in the cloud with the help of Terraform, or you can say how we connect to the multiple cloud service providers with the help of Terraform code. Okay, so as a code, as I said, it is referred as an infrastructure as a code. That means we are managing complete infrastructure with the help of code files. So just like we maintain the different versions of the code where we can easily roll back and then release the new versions. Okay, similarly here, if you have created some infrastructure in the cloud and you want to go back to the previous infrastructure, there's a problem with the current infrastructure. You want to track who did the changes, on which date and time the changes was done, then you can have a complete end-to-end tracking of your infrastructure, just like we have a complete end-to-end tracking and hold over the code. And that is why it is called the infrastructure as a code.